I had a discussion recently with the newly appointed American ambassador for Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean. And I have suspect he's going to do very well. I was saying to him, hey, I know that the Americans has taken this firm position, and even the Europeans, that, the Ukraine had to stand up to Russia. But I reminded him that years ago in the 60s, and when they had the bear pigs, that the then U.S. administration took a very firm position that Russia should not be allowed to build any base or establish any base, beside or below its doorstep in Cuba. Mm-hmm. And I think the United States was absolutely right. But the position of Russia and Ukraine was not dissimilar to the position that was taken by JFK. So, I said to him, hey, look, as far as I'm concerned, if I was a Ukrainian leader, there's no way I would have subjected my people and to my country that kind of destruction to be a part of NATO. And I don't think that the request was necessarily unreasonable. You hear issues to the extent that Russia is trying to annex
parts of
Ukraine just as our next Crimea. Look, they have a deep history, yeah? In fact, Russia and Ukraine, they're fundamentally one and the same in terms of history. And I don't know that necessarily was the motivation, but that, Putin and the Russian administration, or the members of the Russian administration, were trying to take a position, look, we don't want NATO on our doorsteps, just as how you didn't want Russia on your doorsteps. Mm-hmm. And I suspect that the president of Ukraine, he engaged in this senseless war, literally destroyed his country, thinking that he had the support of the Europeans and the North Americans, which he did at the time. But if you notice, the support is dwindling, and Russia is still standing.
Indeed.
So at the end of the day, I'm quite sure that Ukraine will have to surrender. And maybe in hindsight, that they will look back and say, may as well, they're just not bothered to join NATO. Now, I recognize there are many other neighboring European countries that have rushed to join NATO. And I can understand why, because with the conflict in the Ukraine, they are concerned that, hey, look, perhaps it could spill over to them as well and they could suffer a similar fate. But I believe that all this could have been avoided.
This is Antigua Breaking News.